Whoa, here we go. Gourmet to the stars, scene 16. I apologise and learn some things. Characters: Lory Gato, Xeno-Archaeology, Ungh'atib. I hoped she wasn't planning on asking about my message. The fact that it had involved being in the company of Earthers didn't help. Hi, Xeno-Archaeology. I've just been hanging out with human extremists who are obsessed with human expansion and lynching any aliens who get in their way. Didn't sound like a great conversational line. Off guard didn't begin to explain how I felt. I gulped. Did I look Gani in the face? Nope. All I needed was an interesting spot on the ground. Find it and get it to open up and swallow me. Do Tanegis do embarrassment? Come on, no one knows, do they? It wasn't working. Xeno-Archaeology spoke. I think you'd better come in. It sounded pretty unwelcoming to me. Gani and I walked forward. The walls of the entrance firmed up behind us. Gani said to her, Xeno-Archaeology, I was thinking about the low-pressure environmental suits we use. Sir Ungh'atib, I do hope you aren't going to talk about clothing works again. Who'd have guessed she was his daughter? Perhaps Tanegi didn't do family niceties. Okay, I had no good drunken bum of a father, but that's the look of the draw, right? Did you resolve your important matter? Ouch. She wasn't going to ask what was in the message. Not directly. Oh no. The Tanegi were pretty close to Earth norm, and it was hard not to treat them exactly like that. Did they do sarcasm? Sure felt that way. The darkness and shadows that separated the walls from what lay inside seemed to go on forever. Change the subject. But I answered, it's paperwork, and to my thought hardly worth the effort. Was that too dismissive? A memory from my long ago induction circled. Commissioning agents don't cause offence, especially not to alien cultures. How long has your species been on this planet? Oops, that was badly put. I should have said your people. Darkness was swallowed by light. This was sudden, unexpected. At least on my previous visit I had been forewarned. You walk, light comes closer, in you step. Now it exploded, a chiaroscuro of pastels, yellow, pink and green, and my eyes adjusted. Gani was gone. The room about me was lit by flat panel lights on the ceiling, refracted through suspended crystalline shapes. Inset in the walls were more alcoves with backlit rocks. Less a study than before. This reinforced to me her dedication to science. Xeno-Archaeology had pulled to a stop, just 4 feet from me. Lory, there are things we do not discuss. These aren't everyday things, but rather matters that we choose not to make part of the commonplace. For those not of our kind, we say, Kihir. This is not an insult, it merely means you are not Kihir, and as a result, some matters we do not talk of to you. Do not take offence. By telling you this, I am trusting you as much as I can. Oh, I see. I did, and I didn't. It meant I didn't ask about how long her species had been about here. What about her? Could I ask how long she'd been here? I'd know soon enough. Back on Earth, I was used to everyone's lives being open to public view, so I just jumped into another faux pas. It was my job to cotton on to what was okay and what wasn't. So far, I was making all the wrong moves. A bright idea bubbled up, so I asked, so what would it take to make me Kihir, huh? Be thankful you aren't Kihir. There are certain obligations. She smiled speculatively. My throat thickened. Was she sizing me up? I cleared my throat and volunteered. Actually, I haven't looked at my message. You know how it is. Everything they send is the most urgent matter since creation, but when you open it up it's quite trivial. Anyway, I'm certain that whatever it is will wait until I get back to my digs. I still felt the pressure of my earlier bad form. You know, I'm really looking forward to going out to a dig with you, and I'm very, very sorry about running out earlier on. It all came out in a splurge. These things should be handled with care. I changed the topic. What kind of room is this? This is more a display room, where I receive such visitors as I get. Come. I followed. In moments we left the room. We passed directly through into the pink and peaches room I'd seen before. The short distance to hanging beads through them into the room I'd taken the coal for seed. An opening to the right, beyond which was a windowless room, a table and some chairs, lined with display cabinets. It felt more like her study, so I thought of it as that. I could see rocks and other more regularly shaped objects all around, mostly backlit. Someone here had been doing a lot of digging. It wasn't me. I studied Lassia. She was unchanged except for black gloves that contrasted oddly against the dusky, indigo-tinted skin of her bare arms. I watched as she began to remove one. Her movements were all the more elegant for her alienness. Her tone became professional. These are a nuisance, but essential. I have to be careful before handling anything. Why? Our bodies can transmit many things to trigger the process of decay. This is two-way. We also need to be protected. She gestured at the exhibits about the room. Against the rocks? I looked at them as if they might grow tentacles and suckers. What would they carry? Well, it wouldn't be alive in the normal sense, but who knows what the past can transmit to the future. Hold on, this planet hasn't been occupied for how many millions of years? Unassisted, at least a full galactic cycle. Unassisted? One of the terms that covered what folks back home called terraforming. Earth was of course barred from terraforming, a subject to keep well away from. Galactic cycle? I ought to know what that is, but I guess I don't. The orbital speed of stars around the galactic core, she prompted. Not a topic I'd covered. Wow, that's got to be a long time. Yes, think of it as the period of time it takes for the Milky Way to orbit once. I know what that comes to in Tanegi units, but you'd need to go check your records if you want to translate it to something more familiar. Sufficient to say that that places it a long, long time ago. Hey, so that means anything will be long dead, huh? These are perfectly safe to have around. Harmless? Phew. Yes, harmless. If you believe the past could transmit stuff to the future in that way, you'd be correct. Rocks are a vector. Vector. I stored that away. Her black glove lay forgotten in her hand. She continued. If you come to Suxcan, you must know it won't be a pleasure jaunt. There are precautions which apply to all who visit, including you. Is it dangerous on the dig? It's always dangerous on digs, even though the risk is remote. If anything bad happens, that is where it will be most dangerous. The doings of her race were Kahia. What about her? I could only ask. Have you worked there long, or is that Kahia? As to the former, as long as I can remember. When I was small, I wanted to be a scientist. I imagined strange machines and brightly coloured contraptions. She smiled, wistful. On the latter, I'll let you know. Her smile became mysterious. How about you? Did you always want to be an interstellar gourmet? No, the tale is a little complicated. She raised a quizzical eyebrow. I'm on the run. I regretted saying that as soon as the words were out of my mouth. Who from? I squirmed inside. Many years back I'd worked out my standard response. It means I don't have to go back and face a whole bunch of jealous boyfriends. The girls never complained. Just harmless braggery and blag. Words that worked with aliens, even the humanoid ones. All I'd come across were different enough for me to feel comfortable repeating that to them. The words rattled through my head, clunky and stupid. I couldn't say it. She was too close to human. Lassia was affecting me. I ran through variations. Nothing else occurred to me either. I broke with tradition and common sense and admitted, I don't have a good answer to this. The truth is, well, a little dull. And that is? I managed a half shrug. I wanted to excel in cuisine. The market back home was sewn up tight, so I thought I'd add some star strings to my bow. But that's something I normally keep under wraps. And how are you on the run? Of course she was going to return to that. I was on the spot. The truth was, it was something I'd thought up and stuck with since I started on the job. Amongst other things, I thought it good enough to keep girls at arm's length. That is, I may have embellished things a little. So what do you normally say? She toyed with the glove in her hand. Her look told me I had to say more. Damn, she was too close to human. Eventually my whole line of reasoning came out. Well, at least she didn't laugh. Instead, she asked softly, would you go back? I knew the answer to this. I like it too much to return. Anyway, my kitchen skills are out of date. Heck, it's so long since I did anything, I'm not even certain where the food is kept anymore. You mean the fridge? She used the English term, sneaky. I stayed in Pan. The place for beers when you watch the big game. Some quips were just too good to ignore. She took me up. Do you miss the big game? The big game now is a new taste for every planet, and good friends. Careful, they only look like us. Was she angling? I couldn't be certain, but an entanglement would be most inappropriate. Gelassia was decisive. Well then, the big game now is to help me finish off your meal. She ran her fingers through her glove. Ouch. But I owed her. What was in those rocks? Why were the Tanegi interested in them? Maybe I'd get answers.